Hey class, I want to give you an intro video to Intermediate Accounting 1. So overall, the class is pretty consistent with what they offer each week. So this I found under grades, so you can go to assessments, grades, and it gives you a breakdown of each week. So every week we'll have a discussion question, learn smart, McGraw-Hill homework, and CPA questions. These three will always be found in your Connect. So each week we'll have an overview when you go through the week of what actual problems there are and how many, and the specific ones actually you can find in the textbook. But you're more than welcome to go to the textbook, but that actual question is going to be in Connect. So worst case scenario, everything can be found in Connect. So you'll have your discussion, learn smart, homework, CPA questions, and you can see the same thing for week 2, week 3, week 4, and week 5. Unlike Principles of Accounting 1 and 2, we actually had mini projects, so I think a total of 3. This class does not have any mini projects. I think a lot of weight, and you can see by the figures here, a lot of weight is on your CPA question. So each chapter is going to have their own respective CPA questions. It can be 3 or 4 from each chapter. So chapter 1 is the only week that has 3 chapters. You have chapters 1, 2, and 3. Chapter 1 is kind of important. It gives you the framework of accounting, so pay attention to that. Chapter 2 is more like a review, and I think chapter 3 goes over the balance sheet in more detail. So each week after that, we have two chapters to read each week. So it's a little, I don't want to say less laborious, because I believe the chapters are going to be they're going to be more in detail, hence intermediate accounting, but we're going to read less chapters from the textbook. So for the rest of the weeks, we're going to have 2 chapters each. So I want to pull up the syllabus. So here's Intermediate 1, Accounting 3903. It's going to give your textbook information, and just like Principles 1, you'll have to have an access code for McGraw-Hill. All that information is in there. I wanted to give you just an overview of the course evaluation. As you can see, the CPA questions are the most. Out of 1,000 points, they're about 33%. The homework is about 30%. Learn smart, 22%. The discussion questions, about 15%. So I typically in past classes, I accepted work on the accepted late work on the actual mini projects. So for these classes, there are no mini projects. So I'm going to actually ask you all to make sure you get your assignments in on time. I don't accept late work. If something happens, that's an extraordinary event, please shoot me an email. Please give me a call. But for the most part, I don't allow any makeup work. So here's the grading scale, just like all other classes. And here's the overall course evaluation of everything that you do: discussion, learn smart, homework. Sorry about that. I have my 2-year-old just barge into my door. So chapter 1, week 1, chapters 1, 2, and 3. Really important chapter over here. Again, I kind of not only read it once but twice. Just like any other successful accounting student, you're going to read stuff more than once. And if you haven't, please get used to that. Certainly important in the intermediate accounting courses 1 and 2. Chapter 2, we're going to review the accounting process. Basically the worksheet, the closing, making and preparing financial statements, closing entries, adjusting entries, the balance sheet and financial disclosures. Here's your second big chapter. Again, here's the review. This is pretty important. There's some new information in there. Chapter 3, again, the balance sheet, financial disclosures, goes into detail. Your discussion questions, just like every other discussion question we've had, it's more ethical based, but please use more than, hey, I think this is unethical because of this. Support it, evidence it by the chapter, page numbers in the chapters, or at least the page numbers in the chapters. Go into theory of, have the theory that we're learning in the textbook support what we're writing down. That's actually big. So, chapter 2, or week 2, it's going to be chapter 4 and 5. Income statement, revenue recognition, comprehensive income, and this is more of a component that we didn't really touch on in the principles class, but very important for intermediate. Statement of cash flows. We'll talk about discussion question here is about earnings management. Week 1 was about convergence of GAAP and IFRS. So again, as you can see, each week is basically structured the same as far as assignments. Time and value of money and cash and receivables, chapter 3. And you'll see time value of money concepts, especially in your intermediate studies. We'll have bond and leasing. So bonds, the present value of future revenue streams, whether it be principal and interest. You'll see that more and towards later chapters, but we want to basically have an intro here. Chapter 4 or week 4, we go over inventories. There's 2 chapters on inventories. Week 5, we go over plant, property, equipment, and intangibles. So utilization and impairment. So that's actually intermediate 1. Intermediate 2 will be more bonds, leases, but at least we get some kind of framework of the time value of money concepts here. So in a nutshell, that's your class. Let me see. Again, so when you go into your class, click on grades, and as I grade each assignment, you should be able to see how many points you earn. You should be able to click on that, and be sure to read my comments, because I'm gonna, if needed, if help is needed, I'll definitely drive you into the right direction of where you need to go. But also, there's obviously favorable comments in there as well. So be sure you see my comments in the grade book, and just don't look at that grade. So any questions, certainly let me know, and welcome to class. Take care.